and welcome to the Money in the Bank review. We are the Dudley Boys of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened at Money in the Bank over the weekend. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we review Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on Wrestle Culture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett this week to review Money in the Bank, a very eventful show.
Yeah, this was sort of my 2025 with WWE crystallized, this entire show. There are still characters, stories, and match combinations that remind you that while like the boom might be coming to an end, it's not completely over. And the good thing about that is that like obviously then they can like sprout new things as a result, because if one thing ends well, then there's always a chance for the next thing to go well off the back of it. They've still got it in them. Like I think they're still fighting for the title a little bit. However, increasingly like disaster looms around these corners, and it did on this card. There was like another main event near disaster to speak of, with a really interesting talking point, and eventful was the word. This was 2025 WWE. That is to say, I was mostly entertained by it, which I still am in 2025. But the flaws are still very, very evident. One quick thing, already. Going back to the Intuit Dome, which is a beautiful, this aesthetically was a gorgeous show. Initially was a chilling reminder of an also aesthetically gorgeous show, the terrible Netflix debut. But switching them lights off really helps. Like those little lights in the seats. Yeah. Get rid of them and you sort of, what a stunning venue. I want to not associate it with the day that I watched the Fed start to slowly die, because this was a beautiful show to look at.
It was a beautiful show to look at. It was not necessarily for me, in my taste, a beautiful show to watch. And if you listen to the preview, you know I'm not just doing default blanket anti-Fed cynicism. I was really looking forward to this. I thought the women's Money in the Bank match last year, for better and for worse, was one of the most entertaining matches all year. I had loads of fun with it. The men's stuff is usually really great. There were 3 moments on the show, which had some highlights, which I will go into. 3 moments on this show where I thought, I'm allergic to this. Like, I'm allergic to it, and I cannot, like, physically deal with it. Like,
I wonder if we'll share one specifically.
Maybe.
I don't know. We've not discussed it all, but there was...
Speaking of which, I made one note watching this show. Place your bets now in the comments or on X as to what that was regarding. One note of like, I need to make sure I don't forget this aspect of what happened in all the noise that's coming out of Money in the Bank.
All right, okay. Well, I'm used to remembering, so Hamflett, hopefully you can jog it.
Yeah.
As this review unfolds, 3 moments where I'm like, I am allergic to this, and this big sort of, whatever you want to call it, these cinematic moments, melodrama, these big like community theater bits. Like I'm struggling, man. I am struggling. I get less than nothing to a degree for the kind of things I'm into, the kind of things I roll my eyes at, the kind of things that give me the ick. This is like almost verging on as bad as McMahon's Twilight Years for me.
Wow.
Really.
I'm almost certain we're going to share a thing.
If we are, I'm going to have to jump on top because I've already tweeted about it.
Okay.
And I need to have ownership. I'm
sorry.
I'm sorry. Anyway, let's get into it. What did you think?
I had such a good time watching the show. Genuinely.
I know you love Money in the Bank.
I love Money in the Bank. We picked the winners, so that was cool. I know there was a bit of a backlash, and we'll get into it with regards to some of the results on it. I didn't have a problem with any of the results on this entire card. R-Truth obviously was like the cherry on the icing on the cake for me. But like, I sat down on Saturday night, and I was... with a kid now, it's very different. And I was thinking, I'll watch the start of it. It's midnight in the UK. I'll watch the start of it. Presumably, we're going to get one Money in the Bank match. I'll watch that and then kind of call it from there. So, yeah, I went to bed at 3:30 in the morning on Sunday morning, because I was like, well, they've absolutely nailed the right winner in the women's match. Where are we going from here? The Worlds Collide thing, which we'll presumably talk about a little bit on the NXT preview later on this week. Was a nice bit of a taster to all this. I got my juices going in terms of just like, it's Saturday Night Wrestling, let's go.
I swear to God, I watched some of it with James my eldest, he's 10. On a Saturday night, like sometimes it's Saturday, you got to lie in tomorrow.
It was 8 p.m. our time, wasn't it? Of
Yeah,
course.
you can stay up. You can stay up to watch a bit of Worlds Collide. And I swear to God, I'm not joking or doing a bit, because one of my biggest icks, in addition to WWE under Paul Levesque, is people making stuff up about their children.
Oh my God.
I promise I would never do that to you. I promise, right? So I was like, right, James, it's bedtime. I just want to watch something and then pass out and then go up myself. He's like, it's Saturday. I'm like, if you promise to watch some wrestling live, we can have some snacks and stuff for like half an hour, 40 minutes or whatever. And he's like, all right, okay. So like I missed the first match, went back and watched it because Mr. Iguana rules.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
That's why we've gone with green today.
indeed. And no word of a lie, James said, when are they going to start fighting? Because it was like adverts. And I understand in the context of Worlds Collide, which I thought was just completely loveless. Sorry, I got a lot of kickback on Twitter. But guess what? People gassed up NXT UK as well. And who has fond memories of that? Nobody.
We said it was exactly going to be that on the
vibes,
NXT
the vibes
review.
for me were like that. It just like it was such a stumbling block for me in terms of I know why this exists. It's already ultra cynical. Like a really like one of the big things about me and the Fed to begin with is it's an evil empire and I don't like it. That the purpose of the show was itself lowered the ceiling for me. And James was like, "Well, where's the wrestling?" I was like, "Good question, son. Good question."
The ring looked gorgeous.
Yeah, you did like the ring ropes. You messaged us about that, didn't you?
Yeah, that was the extent of it. I was like, oh, look at
Have
that.
you seen Mr. Iguana, who is both iguana and iguana keeper?
Yes.
Flick up the iguana and put him on his shoulder.
Oh my God.
That is what I have seen.
Mr. Iguana, okay. You could do that at as long as you don't completely blow out your knees.
Yeah.
Right? You can do that at conventions and do it live and people will flock to you. I mean, the guy might be set for life.
He's moneyed himself forever.
Yes.
I wanted to mention him. I wasn't sure when to do it, so I'll do it now, just in case I forget later on. The bit where they were like, earlier on today we had Worlds Collide, and it's factored into some elements of this show. And there's like, some people from AAA, and they went through all the usual bits in the crowd. Vikingo's there and what have you. And they did the Mr. Iguana, a huge bap, obviously. And then he's behind them, isn't he? He's behind the
He's behind the
You
commentators.
just watched people just line up. Can I have a photo with you and your iguana, please? Just line of people. It was awesome.
One of the best first impression wrestlers I can ever recall. I just think everyone looks at him and collectively just goes, well, I just think he's neat.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I just think he's neat. Mr. Iguana, I love him. There was a bit in that match as well that I need to put over because I love like a bit of cruelty gone too far in comedy, like a disproportionate reaction where like so unnecessary. Like one of my favorite bits ever in wrestling is Kurt Angle giving Mae Young the Olympic slam and falling to his knees as if he's just headlined and won WrestleMania. Like just the disproportion, the ratio between accomplishment and triumph, or like intent and necessity. I'm all about that in my comedy. Giving the iguana a standing Spanish fly instead of just booting it, a standing Spanish. I mean, that's gorgeous. That is gorgeous.
I'm going to need to see that.
Elsewhere, Worlds Collide. Not for me personally.
I think it's my favourite Lucha Libre show I've ever watched, Worlds Collide. But we'll talk more about it later on this week.
Sure you will, buddy.
I kind of had enough Lucha Libre, though, after that for a long time.
Full up for
Such
months.
a knob. Such
right.
a knob.
Let's dive into Money in the Bank.
July, August at the earliest.
Let's dive into Money in the Bank. It started with the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match featuring Alexa Bliss, Julia, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Stephanie Vaquer, and Naomi. Roxanne Perez, again, I thought had a great showing here. That springboard moonsault that was shared all over the place on social media. The sort of weird alliance that she had with Julia. I did like the spot where they just, how do we get rid of Rhea Ripley? Just chuck as many ladders as we can on it. And then there was that tweet that was like, when you're sleeping at your friend's house and they haven't got a spare blanket, you'll take anything. Stephanie Vaquer, we love Stephanie Vaquer, obviously, here. And I know you two are connoisseurs of a nice dragon screw. I thought, oh cool, Naomi's not winning then because her leg's gone.
Yeah.
At
She
one point.
screamed like Lillian Garcia did when Charlie Haas knocked her off the apron. Like there was and then I stopped watching the match and looked over at the corner to go and see a ref. I was like looking for the hand squeeze or something.
Yes.
I was like, oh God, like proper
The
ball.
dragon screw is just perfect, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
I'll tell you what else was perfect, and that was the Devil's Kiss on the ladder to Rhea Ripley.
Oh my God.
It was. I don't like the Gooner perv element of this.
Sorry?
One bit. I'm not accusing you. I'm
Personally attacked.
The lady doth protest much, Wilbourn. I was referring to Booker T, of course.
Oh, yeah.
McAfee's even worse.
And he is. But I'm going to give him a pass on this one because since he's been asked to take it on from Booker T, it's like they picked up on it and it's good. Like, Stephanie Vicaire works it in a way that I like. Like, she finds the hard camera and she points it. It's like, here we go.
It's immediately now. They're reducing it.
Yeah. But I actually, I didn't see that coming and I sort of applauded the construction of it. Rhea Ripley had just front electric chair dropped Julia, I think it was, another ladder. So it's the immediate, round 2 then. I've got this is opportune. And then for it to use the leg strength. They've actually worked to that. There's a lot of similar praise I'm going to offer. Sorry for jumping in the recap, but that spot now is going to be, I feel, maybe unfairly weaponized against Stephanie. Maybe not unfairly because everyone's going to win out of this. Everybody, it's clearly become this huge thing for her already. But I wanted to praise the wrestlers treating this like a wrestling move in how to factor it into a match before the arse perverts get their way with it, basically. Because there was some pro wrestling happening before that, I thought.
As soon as I knew what they were setting up, I thought, it's going to look very, very clunky. It didn't. Fair play.
We got at one point dueling code reds, or I suppose technically a pop rocks and a code red from Alexa Bliss and Roxanne Perez. And there was a part where Rhea Ripley hit a riptide on Julia Watts. Alexa Bliss hit Perez with Sister Abigail, and there was a moment between the two of them. They raced to the top of the ladder. But in the end...
Moments.
Yeah, in the end... It's sort of different emotions to the two Money in the Bank ladder matches. The men's one, I really enjoyed. Obviously, it was, I think, far more eventful, I think it's fair to say, obviously, than the women's. The men's one I watched, outside of what we'll get into that happened, I watched Seth Kleiman win and went, yep, for me personally at least, because I know some people were like complaining about LA Knight not winning or whatever. I was like, yep, for me personally, that's the right call. The Naomi one was just sheer joy of just like, I really, really wanted her to win this. And there's a moment where everyone's down, because obviously there's different ways that people win these matches. Sometimes it's like, 5 people are fighting at the top and 2 ladders go separate ways and suddenly like, I'm all on my own, grabs the briefcase. Both Naomi and Seth was kind of, there's no one else in the ring, just climb up and grab it. But your brain tells you, well, this is where someone runs in and takes them out, unless, I know Seth had his moment with LA Knight and what have you. There's a bit where she starts climbing, and I was watching this, and she just looks around at one point just to make sure no one's going to run up and get her. And I was just going, just get up there, Naomi, get it! And she did. She is Miss Money in the Bank.
Because she was one of several in this match I was rooting for, which I want to get to in a second, actually. But I thought that as well, because her eyes darting around. I was having that moment of, I've checked, you're fine, go, because I too was looking for where the stops were coming. Like they were using that drone camera for the climbs, which was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. But then it allowed you to then survey the scene and look at the floor and be like, right, well, no, she's there. Like typically, obviously WWE do that thing where they'll go in tight on the person climbing to obscure that somebody's about to springboarding or whatever. But you've got this perfect view. So I had that exact thing of like, no, you're good. I've scanned for you, climb. She was one of, I think there was 3 separate people I was like really rooting for to win this. So when they climbed, I was hoping that they'd make it all the way. But then the building did as well. Off the back of that Devil's Kiss, the response Stephanie Vicaire got when she was already halfway up the ladder and going for it was massive. It reminded me of that year when Punk won it for the second time, and it was Christian Cage's year, and he didn't get it. And there was a real sense of, you've got this one wrong. You might have to turn Punk heat on. They did, and everything worked out great. But like, her not winning in that moment felt like
great.
Could they have gone wrong here? Like by not giving it that, the response that she was getting as she was climbing when it for a second felt like the field was empty, made you think, they're going to go wrong with this. Because I was sort of rooting for Naomi as well. I wanted Stephanie Vicaire to win in the sense of just go all the way with this as a push. But we've talked before about how the Money in the Bank is something of a poison chalice for a babyface. Like it's an absolute rocket strap, but you can do that with Stephanie Vicaire in other ways.
Naomi Queen of the Ring coming up. We'll talk about that in the Raw preview, yeah.
Naomi as a heel, on the other hand, really is getting somewhere with this character, but has had to absorb some pretty bruising defeats as a result. Yeah. So this is the perfect way to pretty much just reset that in one move. And Roxanne Perez was the third. Rhea Ripley got massive responses every time with it being the first one. And that's what I came away with more from this match. This was a good match at points. There was a little bit too much laboured construction for my liking. Ladders look cumbersome unless you're like he doesn't get his flowers for much these days, unless you're someone like an Edge who really did make an art form out of hiding. And like, I would even say Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in their old Steen and Jericho roles were guilty of over construction. You know, like there wasn't much subtlety to how stuff came together. You were kind of watching it to see it fall apart. And
the objective is to grab the briefcase, not build a nice structure in the corner. But I know why you're having to do that.
And there was too much of that to the point where it became jarring, even when the outcome was quite satisfying. And there were quite a few like satisfying smashes and bumps. There was one spot that I really wanted to isolate for praise. It might have been the fact that they'd gone to the trouble of powerbombing Julia first and showing that Rhea Ripley's got this move that she does. I thought the thing we might agree on was Rhea Ripley and Alexa Bliss's stare down.
I must take over.
Please.
I must insist.
Please.
I must insist. One thing, right, is, so the rule is you attempt to do a move using the ladder. The ladder ends up in the place, like in plain sight, where you're going to do the next move. You know, conveniently enough, I've just rewatched the first ladder match in WWE history, which was, this is for Wilbourn.
It's time to play the game! Time to play the game! Ha ha ha!
And the listeners might not know the trivia as well.
I automatically just thought Shawn and Razor.
Second.
So
the first one, well,
and that pisses a certain person off that you think that.
So it's probably not the second if you want to be really pedantic, because they trialed it on the house shows and stuff before Mania. The first was Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels in 1992, released on the beautifully charming naff Smack 'em Whack 'em home video.
Yeah.
It was Bret's idea. It was a Stampede, his dad's territory, Stampede creation. Bret had worked on with Dynamite Kid and all the rest of it. And the key thing, it basically becomes this: climb the ladder, throw the other person off, loop. But before they start doing the climbs, there's this, like, Bret just gets it immediately. So Shawn's the heel, so he's the aggressor. He uses the ladder, and he just, Bret's stationed in the corner, grabs the ladder, starts driving it into Bret's gut. Bret moves, the ladder finds itself suspended over the top turnbuckle like that, and then that's when Bret takes the Irish whip chest top turnbuckle bump into when he gets his shoulder, and it's gnarly. But that's the general gist. Like, you are meant to do a move with the ladder, deliberately miss, and then, the ladder's ended up there, which will facilitate the next spot. There were so many moments in this match, before I get to allergic reaction number one, where it's like, Naomi, just who otherwise was good, and you know what? She bet on herself. She didn't have to walk out, because let's face it, Mercedes Moné was going to walk into AEW eventually, if there were any sort of wrangles, and go in and win that title. There was no such promise for Naomi, who in fact never ended up there to begin with. Like, TNA is pretty much a wasteland. You could still argue that is the case post WWE partnership. She bet on herself. She stood up for herself, and she's come back and got over and developed a proper, like, Loveckian character, but one of the good ones, like this sort of soapy characters. Fair play. Genuinely was quite happy for her when she won. I don't feel a lot for this promotion about anything, right? But there's a point where she's just grabbing a ladder, putting it in that sort of bridge position, and then someone's coming to punch her. It's like, well, what are you going to do? Like, what were you going to do? You could have just climbed it. So it's way too much of that. I didn't think this was anywhere near. There was the odd fun spot, disjointed though it was, but there was nothing. If you're going to do that, and there's, I'm not blaming this specific set of women, because you see these in multi-man ladder matches all the time across, several different promotions. If you're going to go to the effort of doing really elaborate construction, much like Steen Erico, you kind of have to deliver something bonkers, to justify going to that effort. There was nothing really bonkers here. Nothing that made me truly wince. There's nothing with such ingenuity where I'm like, oh God, the construction was obvious, but what a payoff. I thought this was bang average at best as a ladder match and what I expect of them. It's not their fault, though. Again, it's not the fault of the women involved that I'm bored of ladder matches because blokes have booked them into oblivion, you know?
That was all I wanted to add because I wanted to get to your allergy. That was all the thing I last wanted to say. This to me was powered less by the ladder and more by there is a division happening again, and that made me feel good. Canny timing, considering you've got Evolution 2 on the way. You probably want a load of over stars, but it occurred to me in this just how much, maybe not a division, maybe a roster, maybe that's a fairer way. You have a roster again of over women. Capitalise it, because you talking about last year's Money in the Bank, all I remember is the Chelsea Green bump and that Tiffany Stratton won it. I can't tell you a single thing about that. So I think what sticks more
The Zoe
in
Stark one.
I can't. I'll need to go back and watch, to be honest.
Yeah.
What sticks with me more is like an emotional response to like a character in the moment. And there was like 3 or 4 times I was like, go on, go and get that, you know? And I think that's like, it's revealed kind of out of nowhere that maybe they have gone about assembling a pretty healthy looking roster here for underneath an Io Sky or underneath the Tiffany Stratton or now Intercontinental and US title scenes as well. And maybe they're getting somewhere again with this women's division. Probably a good year for women in 2025 across both companies, actually. But that was it. That was like, as a match, I will take away more that I liked the people I had out here. Way more than in the men's as well. Way more. Like, it was average bloke City Jones in that match that was more about the spots and the match than it was necessarily the stars I was rooting for.
Yeah. Right. Allergic reaction to the Fed, number 1 of 3. This happened more than once, but the most in the women's match, and this is a point I want to get to imminently, is how cool is it that we're going to interact, stare down moment. God, I got the ick. An allergic reaction, like a physical aversion to what they were trying to do here. So Rhea Ripley, they're all selling on the outside. Rhea Ripley is in the ring and Alexa Bliss is on the other side. Rhea Ripley can see Alexa Bliss out the corner of her eye staring at her. And Rhea Ripley's sort of doing this face as if to suggest, you know, as if to convey, yeah, I know you're looking. I'm going to look at you in a second. And here I go looking at you. And Alexa Bliss is like licking her lips like, you'd have thought it, huh? After all these years, our paths are finally crossing. We're in the middle of the ring, and we're about to do some moves in a ladder match, and we're just 2 people on the roster. Them framing it, I've got so many issues with this, bro. Them framing it is this epic moment when, quite frankly, at this point, I mean, Rhea and Alexa Bliss are just 2 wrestlers on the roster. One of them is a bigger star than the other at this point, but she's still like, she's not a living legend in her own time. I'm sorry, Rhea Ripley. Not yet, anyway. And Alexa Bliss, you know, she's over. I don't care. There were other moments in this match, not so much the men's. Again, I'm going to get to that. Why are you pushing this stare down, this forced, epic, God, you're going to get to see us 2 wrestle, and I'm so excited to do this. Why Rhea Ripley and Alexa Bliss are looking at each other as if they are Hollywood Hogan and The Rock at WrestleMania 18. And it just drives me insane that we're doing it. The Rumble was infested by this as well. Not only is the acting so bad, like Alexa Bliss trying to convey this is the biggest thing that's going to happen in the world. My God, I'm going to go to Rhea Ripley, and you're going to love it. She's going to love it. Just register the importance, yeah, and the gravity of this moment. Why don't you do something good, and then maybe I will like react to it in kind.
It's very beggy.
It's very beggy.
You remember when there was the fish out of water?
It's the
abundance where like nobody hits anything, and then the idea is that the wrestlers stand away and everybody's supposed to go, oh my, because it's been like 7 RVD and Jerry Lynn, 20 years later, and then they're just wrestling promoters just, well, do that in every single match.
Yeah,
this is like
they haven't done anything yet.
No, and
they're still doing it.
And because Triple H has gradually lost, some people perceive he never had it, but has gradually lost like his creative fastball. The faith has started to disappear that those stare downs used to have payoffs. But because they've stopped delivering some of those payoffs, the stare downs have lost.
It's one thing to do in a TV segment. I get what you're saying. I've stepped on your dick. I'm sorry. But like the whole idea of we're going to do some stuff with a ladder and it's going to be epic. It's like pace off. So unbelievably unearned. This idea of like, I think Levesque is, I don't want to say just as bad. I don't want to like say total hyperbole because I do stand by this point a lot. Almost as bad as treating the audience with contempt as McMahon ever was. This idea that and we'll get to that and when we talk about R-Truth later, this idea of like, oh, the fans will lap this up. They'll think it's epic. Well, why it's so unearned? Just because they are pretending it's epic doesn't mean it's actually epic or that I think it's epic. Why don't you just earn it? So hideously unearned. These facial expressions that they're doing in the Fed these days are out of control. Cannot stand it. And the point that I want to make last before, I gobble up too much time on this. You notice the men's match hardly had any of this. You know why? Because, like, what's Eel Sky doing at the minute? Next to nothing.
Yeah.
Next to nothing.
Tiffany Stratton's doing even less.
Tiffany Stratton's doing even less. Yeah. There is tons of this in the women's Rumble and Money in the Bank ladder matches because there are hardly any. I mean, there are stories, and Naomi is obviously evidence of that. Relative to the men in the men's division, in the interactions and all the rest of it, precious little of it. So I think Levesque's stupid little intelligence insulting tactic is to just fake these horrifically unearned moments, air quotes, so people think that is character work in cinema. And I think it's a joke. I think it's a joke, and I'm allergic to it. Sorry.
That's why I didn't even know you were going to say all that, but that's why I was trying to make a point of the difference between a roster and a division, because there are a series, like a roster is what they currently have, but I don't disagree about the lack of like meaningful stories. I think you have a bunch of meaningful characters that, like, based on this and based on and my personal experience,
they were all over as hell.
Yeah. Like waiting to be invested in something more meaningful, in something which we get a great example of elsewhere on this card, but there's not enough of it. They are reaching, I would argue, like when we do ladies' night, and obviously that goes back so far now, you can track every era of AEW with that. But there was a particular point, I would say, probably in 2024, where it was like, this is frustrating on multiple counts now, because I'd argue, why don't you play 4 women's matches on Dynamite? Because your men's division's whatever.
Yeah, Jericho was at large, Cope was at large.
There's loads of women's wrestlers that I want to watch at the moment. So you could flip this right now and it would be a better show for it. I would argue, and with SmackDown in particular, there is an avenue to do just that. Like, there is TV time that you could, like, easily donate to some of these women that aren't getting it, and you wouldn't miss, like, the men's division wouldn't miss anything for it.
Yeah.
Following this, we had the Intercontinental Championship matches. Before we get to the women's, we have to start with the men's. Dominik Mysterio defending against Octagon Jr. This match was set up at Worlds Collide. Big brawl kicking off. And, Dom saying, right, I'll see you later. So a bare knuckle fight then. And I'll put my IC title on the line. I made a great deal of notes for this, to be perfectly honest, because it went 4 minutes and 55 seconds. I did note... I just love Dominik Mysterio now, I've realised. I watched this, and the match was what it was. I watched this and went, he could be Money in the Bank winner in the next few years, because I just love his character work. Just as something as simple as, like, he was coming out, everyone hates him, obviously. The character, it's
love
weird.
to hate.
Yeah, exactly. The bit where he walks out, and I was like, yay, it's Dominik Mysterio. And someone's like, hey, high five, Dom. And Dom's like, hey, and then just murks him.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's funny that. But yes, like I say, not a great deal here. Octagon Jr. got a fair bit in. At one point, it looked like he was about to win, basically. He ducked an attempt at a 619 by Dom, hit a swinging neck breaker, went up top, but then Liv Morgan hopped up on the apron. That distracted him, allowed Mysterio to knock him down, hit a nice 619 and a frog splash to his back to get the 1-2-3 and retain his IC title.
There are a couple of reasons why I wouldn't have booked this, and I'm going to tell you them because I've got nothing else to say about a match other than to kind of give Dominik Mysterio a bit of credit, because he does always get better. Like, he picks up new things and then he works on how
stare post-match was great.
Yeah.
Just like he won, and he was it like Vikingo and that, just like the Triple A section, basically. And then the moment Liv came in to finally sort of snap him out of it, I really like him.
One of the biggest criticisms that once sat against Dominik Mysterio was that the best you were ever going to get was determining how coachable he was. And I think he's completely blown that away, and he's shown like a constant development of instincts, which is quite tough. Sometimes it's stuff that you're born with and you never can develop. You've either got them or you haven't. And he actually seems... Maybe he's had his instincts coached, and that's what he's been able to. I don't know, but there's always little improvements with Dominik Mysterio. So you can never, just when you think the bar is there, he raises a little bit higher and higher. So I think that's an interesting thing to track over the years to come. I wouldn't have booked this match because it's like record-setting back-in-your-box stuff from WWE. Can you imagine
when it's just less length than a Raw match?
Yeah. Like, can you imagine? Oh, you watching Vince McMahon? And then the following Raw, to prove that he was watching, Vince McMahon brings over like Mark Andrews or Joe Coffey or whatever, and then beats him in 2 minutes on Raw. Like,
I know that's a great point.
That would have never happened.
How would that look as well if it was under Vince?
Yeah.
But because everyone like with Levesque,
what a world's
treating him like
he's
he's 8 years old doing his first promotion for some reason.
It's been such a celebration down there at the Kia Forum, so much so that we're going to bring one of them and just squash him like a bug within a minute, like 4 minutes or whatever it was, in what amounted to a TV match. Like,
not even that.
It won't even it might not track as that now, but I just think that's something worth.
Why doesn't it?
Well, because they might. I don't know who they are, what I'm saying here, but they might sort of think, oh, well, Worlds Collide was a big success, and now I wonder what's going to happen next with AAA. Let's judge it on its next event and its next event. But I think that's worth noting. So that's one reason I wouldn't have booked it. The other reason I wouldn't have booked it is because I feel as if the booking of it was in a little bit in response to the idea that a 4-match card isn't enough for a PLE. And I would push back on that a little bit because, again, I think there's almost a little bit of a. I always think it's ice cream waffles, it's donuts and waffles, isn't it?
Pancakes and
waffles. Thank you. I always think there's
all delicious.
All
delicious treats.
Why were people still fighting about that? Like, I think there's a bit of a pancakes and waffles things going on with these. Like, it's a bit like the AEW one being about runtime and length, and when people just argue, and it's like, here's why you're wrong. Well, you're actually saying something different to me. We are no less incorrect or correct in our takes. We just are on complete different ends with it. If you look at this Money in the Bank show, I was thinking about this while watching it. Everyone that's bought a ticket or everyone going and is enthusiastic about this, I don't think will feel underserved by this 4-match card. Yes, the Money in the Bank matches are not going to go as long as the 2 Rumbles and the 2 Elimination Chambers, which are the other 4-match shows. But I know people think I'm just being an arsehole when I say this, but look at what matters the most to a very, very satisfied WWE customer, right? You're getting 12 of the top stars across those 2 Money in the Bank matches and some of their associated colleagues. In the main event, you're getting 3 of the people you would want to pay to see right now and Logan Paul. Like, that's not me being facetious. Like, the 3 biggest draws. Like, if you lift out Logan Paul, you put in CM Punk, you probably got the top 4 people you're going to want to buy a ticket to see. Maybe Gunther underneath that. So, like, if you look at the card on balance as a WWE fan, you are getting your money's worth. I don't care what a ball now it says about, like, 4 matches. Come on, WWE. But look at what these 4 matches actually reflect, right? A title match with big stakes and a story that people have really invested in Lynch and Valkyria, and then up and down the card. Money in the Bank means loads to people. 12 stars with 12.
Bloody loves it.
Bloody loves it.
Every year. Sad now, it's the longest time until the next Money in the Bank. But don't worry, we've got Iron Survivor, so it's not all bad news.
12 stars with, and I'm going to say the word, 12 entrances that people are going to get the full extent of. And so I don't think people are. My assessment is that people are not being ripped off from that. And yet,
they pay the ticket, they're not getting ripped off.
Well, that as well.
You must know what to expect.
But I don't think walking out the building either, they're going to feel like, you know, in-ring just wasn't where I wanted it to be tonight from my 4 matches.
Wish we'd had a 5-minute IC title match.
Exactly.
I guarantee we'll have forgotten about that. When later on in this summer, if I went, run back Money in the Bank, what do you remember? Actually, you've got better memories than me, both of you. But you would struggle to be like, next year, for example, if I was like, Money in the Bank card last year, what happened?
They always often had 6. Other than maybe the 2019 where everyone went crazy. But like, that's 2011, that's 6.
But like, and this is a point, I wouldn't have booked it for that reason. And then when the outcome is, you've made your new little AAA look like yet another feeder. You've got about 50 feeder systems at this point, and the only thing we know is that the feeder systems is for losers. At a push, you might make it onto proper NXT. Even then, some of them are pretty big losers when you compare them to the Raw and SmackDown people. They have established the hierarchy with AAA on the same night they launched it. That sucks ass.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm speaking on behalf of people that might care about AAA because I don't give a damn. But some people should.
Aye. Look, this thing about the 4-match, 5-match PLEs, like I'm telling you now, like you can't give people too much. You will just exhaust them. You will burn them out. It's only really since the introduction of, I know Netflix has originally considered the hell was that? And now it's like, oh my God. It's falling off a cliff. SNME is a big part of that.
Yeah,
it is genuinely. More isn't ever more.
All these random events that keep springing up on weekends where there weren't previously going to be events.
Yeah, I know.
It's like they've got all these cards to fill.
I know. It serves them right. But seriously, like he's maybe doing too much. I think that the PLE cards have been, if you just want to think of it in cold, pure strategy, good idea. Good idea. So you're not burning out the audience. So I'm in favor of that. This match, you raise a brilliant point there, Hamflett. If Vince McMahon did the exact same thing, the optics would be, or the reaction and the discourse would be, God, he's just buried Octagon Jr. It was such a bizarre choice, this. It was so bizarre. Like, I understand, like, it's not, he wouldn't have done this to Vikingo, so it's not completely like their best guy couldn't lace the best WWE guy's boots up. It's not quite that, but man, 4 minutes. 4 minutes, like for a WWE TV match, that just doesn't happen. This is like one of the, not including speed, it's one of those shortest, most definitive one-sided results of the year.
Presenting Dominik Mysterio like he's Mr. Perfect. He's not the honky tonk man, is he? He's like kind of like he's worked his way through and out wrestled him.
Why?
Like, this is not sort of
the setup angle at Worlds Collide. I paused when I watched that, even before Dom issued the challenge. Like, Dom was mouthing off and all the rest of it, denigrating his dad, Lucha Libre, blah, 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 blah. So that Octagon comes with the defense of Rey Mysterio and all the rest of it. Initially, Dominik gets does the flip over the barricade bump from out of the front row.
Mm-hmm.
Front row, get out. I'm going to beat you up in the bunny ring. I don't know why everyone turns Yorkshire, but
They do.
we do. And then Dom just in the pull apart, just quite handily was on top of him, just pounding away. And then a second time he got the better of the brawl.
yeah,
Even though he's
because they're baby facing him. So this is in service of WWE
but he played-
Raw,
yeah,
not
but-
in service of anything else.
but he
is it?
played
Like,
heel on that show for all intents and this is just so odd. Like a real I don't get too invested. This is where the big leagues are, and this is where they are. And then Barry Worlds Collide on Twitter, and oh my God, people are not happy. People are not happy. I don't care that they're not happy, and they will not be happy in 3 years if they're not just pretending to be happy now, which I suspect is the case. I'm telling you now. I remember when people used to gas up the NXT UK takeovers, and I'm not being funny. Walter was doing this in OTT and wherever, irrespective of the WWE logo on the production truck outside the building, and everything else is largely made. And we did a podcast all about celebrating the great legacy of NXT UK at the Hidden Gem. And no, because no one wants to watch that, because we're all faking it at the time.
I've only one thing left.
I can't stand it, mate.
Only one thing I
My
want to say
favourite day,
about
that
this.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Walking into the office and seeing my face upon having to accept that NXT UK was going to be a part of regular NXT. This is, guys, we're getting our ass kicked in the Wednesday Night War. This is the one thing we didn't want to happen.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to say about this was about desserts, because I have nothing else to
Is
say
this the
about the
thing
match.
that you said at the start of the show?
No, we'll get. Thank you for reminding me though, because I would have forgotten. Had my first cannoli
Oh my God.
over the weekend. So
my
it's they do like a little food festival thing first weekend of the month in Saltwell Park.
It goes to heaven on the second.
Oh, does it?
On the second Saturday.
Well, I highly recommend the cannoli cart or whatever it's called.
Have you had the pistachio?
No, it's good encouragement as well, because if you do park run, I didn't do it this weekend, but if you do park run, you get free entry. So basically, the entire Wilbourn family at the start of next month is going to be doing the park run, even if we walk it, just so we can get in for free because we're cheap and spend all our money on cannolis because
Oh my God.
you're right, Sidge.
They're so amazing.
We sort of walk around and I had the pizza, because obviously it's always class in one of those ovens and what have you. And some few other nice bits and what have you. And Eric's running around like cannoli, and I was like, I don't think I've ever had cannoli. We were a bit like, what? Sorry, what is it? What's going to explain it? They were basically like, do you like cheesecake? Yeah. You'll like this, and bought one, got the Biscoff one. I will try the
pistachio
one.
cannoli. Oh my
The
God.
pistachio
Oh my God.
ice cream you recommended in Shields a while back was class.
Shades.
I was at Shields yesterday.
Oh.
And the Coleman's. Oh my God.
But yeah, got the Biscoff cannoli and took a bite out of it because I was like the shell and stuff with the filling, and I did the old dad classic. Oh God, this is horrible. No, you won't want any of this. I'll polish it off and leave just to make sure you don't have to taste this slop. You know, we both loved it, and we're like, there's like a deal on next time. It's like 5 for whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, get 5.
Yeah.
One of my favourite things about cannolis is any food, and this overlaps with my love of like American slop food. Any food that looks like it could be a toy or a cartoon, and when the stuff, whatever flavour you get, is coming out, looks a bit plastic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like it kind of, is this a kid's toy cannoli? Oh, I can eat it. I love that satisfaction. This is actual food, not just chewing on a toy.
Yeah.
You're 40. Like I'm with Sidgwick. Like pistachio is the best example of that thing because don't need to be green. Like that green and yellow colour, they make it that way.
Yeah.
And that adds to the sort of the magic of it. It's like when I'm having a pistachio ice cream, I want it as yellowy green as possible, please.
As the best bit, there was like a third of it left, and I was like, "Do you want any more?" She's like, "No, I'm all right." And then she turned round. She like the word "all right" had just left her mouth, and she turned around to me, inhaling the last of it. What do you want to go now? Do you want to go on Thomas or whatever? Anyway, let's get back to Money in the Bank because it's the women's IC title match next. Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch with the stipulation, obviously, if Lyra wins, Becky can never challenge for the IC title whilst Lyra's champ, and if Becky wins, Lyra has to raise her hand. I know we sort of bemoaned on the preview the fact that we thought Becky was going to win and this was going to go to a trilogy. I hope it goes beyond a trilogy. I could watch these two fight all day long. I thought they worked really well together. Obviously, their history together and friendship, let's be perfectly honest, is another one of those classic wrestling things of like, you're really good mates, which means you can proper lay it into each other. And they definitely did that here. There was a bit where they teased a count out and I thought, oh no. What was it? There was a manhandle slam on the outside by Becky and then a Nightwing by Valkyria, but they both break the count at 9. Like I say, yeah, just loads of really, really stiff shots in there. The finish saw Becky Lynch in a sort of repeat of what happened previously between the two, and then they were sort of roll-up reversals. She didn't steal one previously, but Lyra got the win through, I think it was reversing a manhandle slam into a pin. They did that, but this time Becky Lynch grabs a handful of tights to get the 1, 2, 3 and win the IC title. Lyra can't believe it, but yes, Becky is crowned the new women's IC champion, and I just thought the way they did the whole setup to the post-match here was wonderful. The Lyra like, I'm a good person, so I'll do it begrudgingly, and she does it, and it sickens her to do it, but like, yeah, there you go, new IC champ. See you later, guys. Go sleep. Becky's like, no.
No.
It's four sides, so probably do all 4 if anything. I was like, come on, I held up my end of the bargain. I did it. Come on, do it. She, again, begrudgingly does it. And then it's like, right, you've got your thing now. Congratulations. Well done. See you later, guys. Belt me. Put the belt around my waist. And that was kind of the final straw for Lyra. She did do it. But then there's a great, I tweeted a picture of it when I was tweeting about this show. There's a great sort of freeze frame of Becky just halfway through getting just suplexed into oblivion by Lyra as she's celebrating
belt on.
And yeah, so Becky wins, but Lyra gets an element of revenge.
This is by some margin like my favourite fouad of 2025 in WWE. It's going to take CM Punk escaping the orbit of, shout out to Post Wrestling, God, I wish I'd come up with this. CM Punk escaping the orbit of the Seth Riders.
That's good.
Mwah.
I'm surprised you didn't.
I'm furious I didn't, if I'm honest. There is a real like thing, isn't there, from like Bloodline to Death.
Yeah, it's the same,
like, they've all
same
done it.
stuff.
I love this so much, and I've loved all of it. When I really think about it, I've loved all of it. We've made this comparison before, and it's never necessarily in the execution of the moves because, well, the clue is in the name. He had excellence in it. But there are so many Bret Hart, Becky Lynch comparisons in this post-2021 run of Becky Lynch that I constantly see. And it's the construction of the matches, if not always the execution. It's the extra little bits of detail. You pointed out that about the finish. With the rolling pinfall, which I thought was just fantastic. Becky Lynch takes one little peer over the shoulder to clock exactly where the referee is counting because there's
Commentary called it, didn't they?
Such a fine margin of where it was Jessica Carr, I think, was slapping 3, where like she would have seen it. And Becky Lynch is like, no, just enough, arches his shoulder, pulls the tight, and then the replay doesn't catch it in time. I don't think they showed you the best replay on purpose because that's there if and when they want to revisit it. I'm wondering if they are not going to do another match between these two right now. You could argue the trilogy is complete. Lyra beat Becky for the NXT title and then beat her at Backlash, and now Becky's won the belt. So it's technically finished 2-1 to Lyra, but Becky's the one that's ended with the title as a heel. That's potentially perfect booking for Lyra Valkyria to do what she couldn't do last year, which is go one better and win the Queen of the Ring rather than lose in the final to Nia Jax. So I'm really curious to see if they just part this now. because Becky Lynch, as the heel work rate Intercontinental Champion, I think is potentially inspired on its own terms. She, from both an ego point of view plus the mountain evidence that she's stacking up, could be perfect for the...
I couldn't believe people were angry about, like, sorry to interrupt, but the people being like, Becky Hogan's here again.
There is no singular take more obvious that you haven't got a clue what you're talking about if you say Becky Hogan. Like, the
This is the antithesis of Hogan.
Simplest, biggest, 100-foot, like, red flag that you do not know what you're watching if you're saying the words Becky Hogan. Like, her now as an Intercontinental Champion, based, as I say, on loads of evidence, could be massive for Raw. Like, if she's saying to Triple H, right, who are you after getting over? Give me her, and we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. Because could there be a safer pair of hands for it? Like, she's either going to come out and she's going to put somebody over and they're going to win the title off her, or she's going to potentially make somebody a defeat. It won't work 100% of the time. We saw it. It didn't work with Liv Morgan when she wasn't quite ready for it.
But the intent was there.
But the intent was so obviously there, and the stage was set, and it just didn't quite take. And you always do that. Like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so always take the shot. The match was full of loads of those little details, tons of callbacks. Like, we're going to be talking a lot in the next couple of months about Omega Okada and how important callbacks were in that series to just make you feel like the wrestlers are living in the world of their rivalry because you are too. And this was just absolutely littered with them. The hard hitting really helped because at this point, we hate each other. We are sick to death of each other, and we're going to hit each other really hard to prove it. And it played right through into that post-match. That post-match was not just a case of Becky Lynch being like, how big a dickhead can I be before I push her over the line?
So good.
Yeah.
That was
this is class, that is.
The arm raising, right? If you think the arm raising stipulation, which we talked about, was they've made a nothing feel like a something here with this arm raising. If you think back, when she raises the arm for that first one, how did Becky Lynch turn heel on Lyra Valkyria? It was on the Raw after WrestleMania when they'd lost the belts, and Becky and Lyra were like, oh, well. And then Becky's like, no, you like that. It was encouraging you to think Lyra was going to do the same to Becky, but she's a better person. She's a baby face. So she gritted her teeth, and if she'd have clotheslined Becky off that first arm raise, she'd have been no better than Becky.
Yes.
And that turn is what started all of this. It was Becky forcing the issue. And even on the last arm raise, it wasn't that. She was like, I've raised your arm every time. I have proven myself a better person than you. Strap me up. Right. Like, I'm a better person than you, and now I'm also allowed to do this.
Yeah, I didn't agree to this.
The strapping up. The strapping up was the point at which Lyra Valkyria can cross that line without compromising her character. Such a thoughtful added detail in a feud that has been full of them. I hope they'll get like that on TV now. I don't want to see these two come back together again until you've strapped up Lyra as the world. Yeah. And Becky's lost the IC, and it's like, but I beat you for your last title, so I'm going to beat you for this one as well.
You can put the belt around my waist on Sunday as well.
Yeah. Loving work all the way through this.
I could scarcely believe that Levesque booked this and has promoted it, and it was on the show, because he is just completely preoccupied with the slop, what I would describe like finisher, spam, moments, slop. This was unvarnished, stiff, strategic, really nicely done professional wrestling where you had the counter to the counter to the counter, and it never felt like showboaty. It felt like teacher-student, felt like within the context of the story that they're telling, not just wrestlers showing off because back and forth matches are apparently in vogue, even though everyone's got banger fatigue or great match fatigue. This was very, very faithful to the dynamic, the story they told, like the sophistication of the stuff with the raising the hand and stuff. Like, this is what I like. This is a very, very, very good version of it.
Right, let's get to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, which, of course, featured Andrade, El Grande Americano, L.A. Knight, Penta, Solo Sikoa, King of Pata, and Seth Rollins, of course.
SmackDown was awful. All gas, no brains.
That was good stuff.
I thought you'd like it.
Especially because, as well, like, they haven't done this for a while. Neither company really does anymore. He's all gas, no brains. That'd be like me trying to avoid these massive lights.
Yeah.
And so, like, Solo, Jacob walks out. Oh no, now he's hurt.
At least,
as opposed to what he would have seen in 6 days.
At least that was paid off immediately.
I think that was the moment where you're like, they're going to SummerSlam with this rather than...
Yeah.
I was worried for Solo Sikoa at the start of this year because, it definitely felt like they'd gone...
You stink. Relegation.
Look at this guy over here. We've got Jacob Fatu. We've got a million other people that they could put in this sort of a role. And this night was sort of a like vindication of him being like, right, what if I was just banter though?
Yeah.
Like he did it. Definitely did El Grande Americano. He definitely did LA Knight because he went I can't remember what came next. You pap. He did Penta's thing as well all the time.
I like the
Whenever
Penta
he
one.
does it,
Yeah.
he gets his ass handed to him. A really, really good. Well, not a good night for him, but we'll get into that in a second. Not a good night either for Andrade. Big pop in the Wilbourn house when the ladder fell on his cock. That was funny. Very early on,
Pat
wasn't it?
McAfee went, oh,
Yeah,
like that.
because it was just like so
camera was moving away,
innocuous,
wasn't
wasn't it? I think like Americano's like grabbing a ladder and knocking it. They're out on the floor. You just saw it just perfectly land. Man getting hit by a ladder. This contest is over for me. He also like went to do the springboard onto a ladder, didn't he, and just slipped. It was just it's not a great night for him. But yes, let's get into some of the stuff that happened in this match. There was a nice ankle lock that Americano's been taught by Chad Gable on Rollins atop a ladder, and then Rollins was just sort of hanging upside down. What are we doing? What's happening, guys? We need to kind of protect him here. And he gets dropped on a ladder by Andrade, I think it was. He was like climbing over him. There was the funny bit with, I mean, how thick are you? You go for the briefcase. No, you go for the briefcase. I can go for the briefcase. Okay, thanks. Down a punch you. Like, you've ever been involved in a wrestling match before? But there was a bit where...
Oh, I remember the spot from the women's match. It's when Julia's like in the rungs, and then Alexa Bliss just runs into the ring and drop kicks her out with them.
Yeah.
They just sees her hanging out the ladder. They've like tried to have like various people climb over the top of her and stuff, and she's like, what am I going to do? And Alexa Bliss just appears out of nowhere and just like missile drop kicks her out of it because, well, there's a free head. I'm going to kick that out of the way. Oh, it was nice that.
There was it? Yeah, it was the match where like talking to stiff shots. It just reminded me. I think it's either Becky or Lyra. One of them's like slumped over the barricade. They just like landed with all their force on the back of their neck.
It was Lyra on the
That was
Becky,
Lyra on the Becky, yeah.
That was a great spot. There was a Mexican destroyer by Penta on Andrade on a ladder bridge that had been set up. Oh, good night for Penta. They really made him look strong in here, I thought. But Americano suplexed him off the ladder, then Rollins, then Knight, then Andrade, and then he went under the ring to get the Fireball ladder. Sponsorships are plenty, of course. That was a moment where they really treated the audience like they were idiots.
Yeah.
The Fireball.
Because Pat McAfee was like, look, it's the Fireball ladder that the Creed brothers hid under the ring after a segment we saw like 10 minutes ago where Chad Gable, on behalf of El Grande, said, put the ladder under tell me where it is, but also tell El Grande Americano. Oh, I've just remembered what I was going to mention. I forgot in the Andrade getting hit in the dick.
This is the intro.
This is the one note that I made on this show, and I dubbed it Nipplegate. The bit where there was a big argument on commentary with Wade Barrett talking about the different nipple sizes of Chad Gable and El Grande Americano. And I'm so glad he did it because it's a conversation myself and our producer, Adam Nicholas, has had on numerous occasions with regard to wrestling nipple sizes in equation with whether or not they win the big one, win a world title, whatever. Because if you've got small nipples, I've got some good news for you. You're gonna have a good run. We've been keeping track of this, so I just wanted to make sure to acknowledge a fellow nipple appreciator in Wade Barrett.
Your best friend Wade
And
Barrett.
Michael Cole just apoplectic. I have never done research on wrestlers' nipples. All right.
Well, you should for circumstances like this.
This feels opportune to put something over that I really liked in this match. I didn't love all of it, and I know you haven't finished the recap.
I've just got to the Fireball ladder, mate.
The treatment of the El Grande Americano character by the commentators here was the best it's ever been, and I have really, really come around to it. Like I was too concerned by a lot of people expressing a lot of concern about like the really problematic aspects of it when they introduced it, and I think they were playing too much with a lot of political tension, and they were playing too fast and loose with it, and irresponsibly so as well. Dialed a lot of that back. And they've finally balanced the wink and a nudge in a way that I'm enjoying. And the commentators really emphasize that. Like Michael Cole's stubborn refusal to call him anything other than Chad Gable, like to the dismay of Pat McAfee and Wade Barrett, was entertaining. It just entertained me. And then so they would do that. It would be like you're very good at this. It'd be like the bad faith bit if we did bits, which we do not.
No. Thanks again, Matt Steele, for the 20-page document.
Yes, we had a lot of fun talking about that on Air Friday.
Me and Sid are enjoying that in the office. I'll read it out to you later.
I'd like, well, again, because we don't do bits, I'd like to see these supposed new bits. But the bad faith bit by Pat McAfee and Wade Barrett to do things like discredit Wikipedia, for example, or then like put it back on Michael Cole. Like Michael Cole, come on, like he had CG on his boots. He wore his boots by mistake. How dare you denigrate Chad Gable doing a favour to El Grande Americano? Like he had the same arm taped in the match at Worlds Collide. Wrestlers tape their arms, Michael. And then the nipple one was weird, like, well, excuse me for judging that people that mostly work shirtless and trying to do my job.
Yeah.
I just think they've got the temperature of this right at long last. Like,
it feeds really nicely into what came next, because there was a bit with Rollins and Penta fighting atop the fireball ladder because all the shenanigans went on. And he cut to El Grande Americano, just putting a metal plate in his mask. And then Cole's like, right, come on. You can't deny that. And I think Wade said, like, he's putting in an antihistamine. It reduces the swelling. And then obviously we got that amazing spot. He's on the outside, so they're fighting. I think Rollins gets dropped off. Penta just kind of has to wait. A typical sort of Money in the Bank ladder spot of just grab the briefcase.
I thought this was trash.
But
I thought it was trash as well.
It's like, I think LA Knight flipped him onto a ladder. It was on the outside. He climbed up that, and he climbed up the ladder that was propped in the corner, that then flipped onto the main ladder that he ran up and headbutted Penta to knock him down. And then him and...
Sorry, just go under the rope there, and then just skip the 2 ladders, and then just go up the third one.
Just walk up, just climb up the climbing implement.
Yeah.
Great spot with him and LA Knight coming up.
That kicked ass. And that,
which one again?
So he's knocked Penta down, he's headbutted him, and then LA Knight runs up and drops him, and they came real close to a ladder.
It's like a running, leaping German suplex to just pull him off the ladder.
Yes, I remember.
And then they show the replay, and there's one ladder balanced on the ropes, and like that's hair's width between El Grande Americano's head and that ladder.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was an impact thing, wasn't it?
Roxanne Perez pretty much did a back bump on a ladder with her head as well. That was
screamed, didn't she? Yeah. Right. Do you want to say anything about this convoluted?
No, it was bad. It was bad. The camera cut into that slingshot. It was just, I felt sad for them both. Like, and I was just lying on the ground going, you go a bit. There's no space.
But during all this, we cut to Seth Rollins. He's like, get the guys out here. And out of the mists come Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Americano. You only saw it for like a split second. They cut kind of late to the spear on Americano.
Good.
Yeah. Have you seen the crowd shot of it? He flies. He genuinely, like, I know there was the Carlito one me and Andy were talking about on the news. It's the greatest move in all of wrestling.
I need to retract something I said on a Raw review the other week where it was like, oh, WWE have gone down this default rote heel thing where they just put them in suits and then they talk slower. Spears in suits, actually. Like the old spears in slacks. I think I can sanction it with Braun Breaker.
I can't.
No.
Spear looks good whatever he's wearing.
I need Bronson Reed doing a tsunami in like a Mean Street Posse sweater vest or something.
Okay.
And Bronson Reed doing spears in suits.
So yeah, they take out Breaker. Breaker's the best. Give him all the titles. There was a bit, so he does that amazing spear on Americana, and then he sets up for another one.
This.
And LA Knight, I think, who's getting up like by the commentary table, so he's gonna have to do the bit where he runs round the post, and he like did a little skip over a referee that was checking on.
Detritus. He was like, oh, I'll get past that. Like not break stride.
Speared LA Knight. Reed tsunamis Andrade from the top rope, and then all of a sudden it's like, right, we're taking them out. Solo Sikoa, who's just waking up at ringside, and he's like, guys, come on, guys. And then you hear, "Fuck! 2!" which, as you two now know, is one of my son's favourite things. Sent him a little video of us around the breakfast table.
Magnificent.
Makes me now more guilty about what I'm going to say in about 2 minutes.
Okay. And here comes Jacob Fatu and JC Mateo. They come down as the face-off, but it's, let me get this right, Mateo and Breaker and Bronson Reed and Jacob Fatu, obviously. Mateo eventually got speared through the barricade by Bron Breaker, and Fatu looked slightly in trouble against Bronson Reed until Bronson Reed decided to take a second to hit the ropes, and he ran straight into a pop-up Samoan drop by Jacob Fatu and a suicide dive. I need to do it all a bit. Class. And Jacob Fatu's like, everyone's down. Up we go, gets Solo in, chucks him in the ring, gets a ladder in. Oh, that's not big enough. I'll get a bigger ladder for you. Sets it up. Actually, visually, let's do it this way. And Solo Sikoa, they do the shot. Solo Sikoa goes to climb. Jacob Fatu's face changes, and he grabs Solo. And Solo doesn't sell it immediately. He goes to climb the ladder. He's like, oh, my foot appears to be stuck. Just more effort, probably. What's this? And he looked down, and there's Jacob Fatu, who's decided, nah, this is finally the moment. The all gas, no brains was the final straw, effectively. And he says, I hate you! And he pulls Solo Sikoa down, super kicks him, hits that awesome moonsault onto him, and then slammed him through a ladder bridge before walking out. He's had enough of all this. And then Seth Rollins climbs the ladder. There's no one else left. Climbs up to the top, but in pops LA Knight. The crowd love this. They think, oh, there's a chance here. Runs up the ladder, but Rollins recovers, pulls LA Knight back down to the ring, chucks him headfirst into the ladder, curb stomp, and then Rollins climbs the ladder, and for the second time in his career, he is Mr. Money in the Bank.
I love the bollocks way more than the match. Like, the field was not particularly interesting to me. And, like, I've just seen it. I've just tired. Like, ladders. I was so, like, I was more interested in the women's match, truthfully, and, like, that didn't change.
I think the men's was worked better.
Probably, yeah. Who cares? Like, not me. I just, whatever. Like, I'd have thought that would have been pretty cool if Penta would have won, or El Grande Americano. But I can consign it to the reality that Seth was going to win, and I'm fine with it for the. Like,
it's the right call for me.
Yeah, the likely sort of storyline implications I'm fine with, but I was
especially for tonight, which we'll talk on the Raw preview.
Way more into it when the bollocks started happening. When, like, Braun and Bronson arrived from that point on, I got way more invested. I was far more interested in that, in the splitting up of Solo and Jacob, all of that sort of stuff. That's like just directions that I'm far more into than any of these wrestlers just wrestling. It was just bumping around ladders and that. Didn't care. Never felt like any of them were really going for the belt, for the briefcase. So, and then I really enjoyed I enjoyed it so much, I watched it back wondering if it was called on the fly, but I don't think it was. The last LA Knight Hope spot. I really like that. You see like a referee speak to LA Knight, and that made me think, I'm going to watch that back. Is that they've wanted to give him one last bit of shine because he's going to lose again, and that's going to be a big part of the thing. Is like 3 in a row. He's been this focused upon 3-time loser, but it's seemingly in service of this thing with Aleister Black they're doing. Like LA Knight's going to turn heel on Aleister Black because he's going to snap at losing yet again. It's, we debated this last week. The point of these triple threats and now 4-way qualification matches is that you potentially get stories spinning off them. So I do wonder if that was why they incorporated that LA Knight last minute dash. He couldn't now. He's staring like big failure in the face because he was the only one that could have stopped Seth and he couldn't get it done. Otherwise, I'll never watch the first. How long did this go altogether?
Ages. It felt like ages.
33 minutes.
I'll never watch the first 28 minutes of this ever again. Ever again. Like Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed as well, I think this got entertaining, if I'm honest.
I thought it was below the standard I actually genuinely, earnestly expect of a WWE multi-man ladder match. I need to say this again, otherwise I'll come off just way too miserable. Give it a toss. They're way better at AEW than this, or they were. I've loved men's Money in the Bank ladder matches over the last however many years, and the women's last year. Blah, 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 blah. This is just pretty perfunctory. Pretty perfunctory. Allergic reaction number 2. I'm so sorry. I hate you, Soul. Oh, God. Are you joking? I understand, right, what they're doing here. I understand he's been saying, I love you, Solo, for like a year or whatever.
How does he say it again, Wilbourn?
I love you, Solo.
Okay. Now he said,
I hate you, Solo.
Correct.
Sounds like the little guy in there.
There's always a little guy. Inside you, there are 2 little guys. There's not wolves in me, there's little guys in there. I'm having a fight. I mean, I would ban dialogue in wrestling matches. Full stop. Like trash talk that you can't hear. I love it getting mouthed. Like that you're not meant to hear that, If it went to a wide shot, the wrestler wouldn't know, I think it was Mariah May who just like completely dripping with blood, like can't put Tony Storm away during the Hollywood ending. Just I hate you, and really exasperated. It was great. But I reckon in my headcanon, she says that even if the director is pointing it and doing a crowd shot.
Yeah.
You know, I hate you. It's like, oh, geez, the most obvious story beat. The wrestling's completely, they might as well just not do it. I would love to see them just stop doing it. And then we can just, after all this time, after all this silly bother and these endless conversations, if they don't do wrestling, then that'd be great for me. I wouldn't have to cover it. You know? And I probably would because it's got W in it. You know what I mean? Just like everything is just a backdrop to these big moments. Big moments. And like just
And I think there's a balance. I think it's okay. Like
it's they make you think, they make me feel thicker than ever before. Like I know it's hard to believe. I was raised on this, just like you were.
Yeah.
It's never been this dumb. I don't think it's ever been this dumb. It's been more nonsensical, right? It's been more. Why is that wrestler, getting buried after he won last week? Oh,
where's that goo coming from?
It's been infinitely more insane. Like 2019, 2020, 2021. Like, and maybe, I'm callous to what it used to be like. I remember, like, Michael Cole's, the objective of the match is to climb the ladder, retrieve the briefcase from the carabiner, and you can then cash in, even at WrestleMania. I know they did all this. I don't think I've ever felt dumber. I don't think I've ever felt dumber watching this slot. Good news is they can, like, it just felt like I'm watching Jacob Fatu in the way they are presenting him as like, he's kind of learned a new word, and it's like hate instead of love. It's like he's in. It's like one of these 80s movies where he's playing like, they treat him. I know he's a wild man.
Yeah.
But he can talk. He can converse. He can communicate.
The character that's been going, hey, boss, all the way through, and then does like a Shakespearean monologue at the end.
Yeah,
like,
or Harry and the Hendersons, just like the big dumb goof. I don't think I've ever felt dumber watching this. Good news is that Jacob Fatu is so inherently awesome that they can't give me the ick in him week after week after week. I will forever think he's awesome. They can't ruin him. Bookmark this. They can't ruin him.
I love that this was the latest, and it was great that it was happening at the same time, but this was the latest, like, Cena Batista 2005, where they were both out there at the same time. Like, Bron is this just agent of chaos and Jacob doing it, and it's like, I love these constant comparisons, like, these are coming up at the same time, and you don't it up, Paul, because the Royal Rumble needs to be both of them. There needs to be two favourites, and you cannot pick. And
Can I shock you?
Yeah.
Can I shock you?
Please.
I watched the opening at the SmackDown and thought, this is well arranged, this.
Yeah.
This is well
They
done.
keep doing it.
Yeah.
They've got two here. Please get us to January and be like, one of these has got to go to WrestleMania. Something's got to give. They're the best. They're the best. Like, it's so exciting when you're seeing two stars.
They know what
at
they've
this
got
level.
with it. They know what they've got with this.
Then we got to the main event.
And again, one thing, I'm not even that clever. Like, I'm not. There's so much things I can't do. There are so many things I don't know about that I'm ignorant towards. Like, I was watching the Nations League final last night, and James was like, so is there any, like, historical, like, real hostility between Spain and Portugal? I went, I don't know. Like, if your mom's more awake than me, get her to ask Google. I'm not saying I'm this big intellectual savior. I don't want to feel as stupid as I do watching this. I hate you so. Come on, man.
You liked it.
I like it.
know,
It's bloodline stuff, so I like it. Yeah. Actually, before we get to the main event, there's a little bit of an announcement made by commentary that we are heading back to Las Vegas, baby, for WrestleMania next year.
I don't know how much you two took the piss out of me. Probably a lot. You always do. But I was really ill at the back end of last week, and I was trying to no-sell it, but it was bad.
Not another one button, mate.
You're joking. Not another one?
And we'll get to why I believe
Late March, early May, please.
that is probably a more valuable contribution than we're giving it credit for. And I was really ill this weekend. And I was saying to you guys just before we came to record, watching this show in parts because I kept falling asleep, waking up, whatever. I sprung up like the friggin' Undertaker in 1993 when he's under the bonsai drop. When this advert dropped, I was like, I'm cured. I'm fine. Everything is okay. Like, I needed this. Like, the desert needs the rain. Let me tell you. The Las Vegas desert, that is.
I read everything but the girl.
Amazing, great. And I'm glad Sidge was there to press the button because just like when the rumour came out, Oh boy, it's divisive. We're gonna work as hard as we can to make it just as exciting.
I mean, it's not divisive. It's us and everyone else.
For now, let that be our job.
Not even us, because I hate it as well.
Sorry, yeah. So when I say us, I meant me, Michael Hamflett, and Matt Rains, who I think's already booked his tickets.
Absolute legend. My bestie, knocking out at the park.
Amanda Blair's coming as well, I think.
We're going to work as hard as we can to make it as exciting for you as it currently is for us.
Nick coming?
Keep needling it. Yeah, he's very much. I got the "we are so back" message in relation to that.
I was never there in the first place. This is we. I mean, it's just the thing with your cousin. It's very nice.
Love Nick. We all love Nick.
Every time I have a lovely weekend with my daughter, whose birthday falls on this now annual tradition.
It's
Do a
problematic.
residency from now on. I think it's a genuine personal affront to Michael Sidgwick.
It's honestly like every time I think, oh, you know what? We'll just pretend our birthday's a week later, or I'll make it even extra special. Every time this crops up, it gets hotly rumored or officially announced. It's just like there are times when it gets to like 6:30, 7. I had a family day out yesterday, and she was like, "Okay, I'm going to play on the way home from the metro after we've just done the bowling and then the posh fish and chips and stuff." And she just never gets bored of us and always want.
It's lovely. It's genuinely lovely.
We've discussed this.
And I love it so much.
You're the toy. Like it's a nice thing to be the toy, right? But yeah.
So he just like spurs me to a switch. So you're joking? Because when I was your age, I was just on my Mega Drive all the time.
Yep. Yeah, well, watching me all fed all day, every day. That's all I needed.
Fed, Sonic.
Yeah.
A bit of Streets of Rage, more Fed probably. Yeah. Some, I don't know, own goals and gaffs maybe VHS.
Yeah. Oh, Danny Baker.
What was the one with
Nick Hancock?
Oh, yes,
yeah.
sorry, yeah.
I think that was own goals and gaffs, Nick
Is
Hancock.
that the one with Peter Devine?
Yeah.
Peter Devine, yeah. If you know, you know.
But yeah, you're all better now.
Yeah, it's the best I felt, genuinely. Like, I was just, oh my God, we're going to be all right. We are going to be all right.
What was he? Oh, yeah, take your Fedison.
I took my Fedison. And I will continue to. Even the Fed, I was like, oh, we're going to be fine. Like, this year is falling off. But I was like, yeah, but by WrestleMania in Vegas in 2026, everything's going to be class again. It was even this, like, sense of... and it was only then...
Let's go on with the main event recap.
Well, it was only in the main event, because I was now riding a high, that I noticed, and I want one for my house. The bottom turnbuckles in the ring were all sponsored by 7-Eleven.
What?
So if Fed, go back and watch. If Fed turnbuckle with a 7-Eleven logo on, I need one. How do I acquire one? You know when they were like when All In first happened and they were auctioning off these historic All In turnbuckle bands? I've now got the one I want. It's the 7-Eleven WWE one. It looks so good. These rings, man, like this marketing thing is class. Like more of it. Fireball ladder. Did you see that it's like the carabiner typically used to have like the WWE logo on? Not now, it's like Care Shape.
Yeah.
Good. Like, makes me laugh because I know how much Vince McMahon hates it. So that pop number one. These rings look brilliant. Like it's made WWE look better. Like
I wish it was more sports and presentation because the aesthetic of that. I've known advertising boards and managers doing interviews against like I equate like horrific, incredibly blunt, broad, excessive advertising with sports legitimacy. You know. Shame they're doing slop.
Main event of the evening, it is John Cena and Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. Cody and Jey out first. Obviously, huge reaction for both of them. Jey comes through the crowd and then he sort of finishes entrance.
Forever this. Great.
Finishes entrance and then what did he do? I can't remember.
Well, he went.
And they hey yo! I was like, yeah, here comes Logan Paul.
Cody and Jey looked amazing together, by the way.
Jey looked about 4 foot taller.
And it's just
what happened?
The white gear, if and when Jey loses and if Cody's not, I think you need to have these two have another one of the belts, please. I think they're a sublime bit of business together, as far away from this match as possible, that we should never speak of again when this review is concluded.
There was two cool moments in this match.
There were.
I think I'm going to criticise one.
Okay.
I've got some doubts on this.
I just thought Logan Paul's drone entrance is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in wrestling. They're like, because like I was rewatching it with Anna Louise.
Greatest.
It's just visually I thought it was so cool to do like that because I was like, oh, okay, he's doing
and
like
it had a purpose
entrance.
as well.
Yes, and the other callback. He comes out and he's like, oh, you're doing a selfie entrance, cool. And then he's like, why are you pointing up? And then he just the camera's taken off, and it flies round the slightly looking better than the beginning of the show.
It was good.
Sold out into it, though.
It was good.
Parks it on the prime bottle.
And then he catches it again on the top rope for his entrance. Yes, the beginning of this match was very much sort of by the numbers. The heels isolate Jey Uso to build to a Cody Rhodes hot tag, with John educating Logan Paul on how to be the best, up until they get into a bit of a shoving match over who's going to kick Jay's ass. And they lose track of Jey, and suddenly he's over in the corner. Cody Rhodes gets the hot tag. He runs wild, of course. He eventually hits Cena with a big missile dropkick, but Logan Paul just nails Cody with a huge punch. Cena hits an AA, but Jey Uso dives in at the last second to break up the pin. Rhodes fights back, gets Cena with a crossroads, sort of lays back to do the pinfall and sees Logan Paul coming off the top. And he moves, and Logan Paul accidentally hits John Cena by accident. And then Uso hit a spear on Logan Paul.
Accidentally by accident.
Sorry, yes. Then hits a spear on Logan Paul.
Lads.
But speaking of deliberate mistakes, loved Logan Paul accidentally, deliberately botching the buckshot lariat.
He did, and we're going to talk about that.
Ooh, okay. Anyway, Logan Paul hit the pulverizer and then went up top to do a drone top rope move.
Yeah.
He's holding it there, trash talking. Suddenly, Cody Rhodes appears there with him, superplexes him down whilst they're holding the camera. And then you're like, bloody hell, that was amazing. Then you just, bang, out of nowhere, Jey Uso's come off the top with a splash.
Yeah, fantastic. This was fantastic.
That was fantastic. Similar to the ladder thing where it's like, I wish they hadn't gone to the normal WWE camera, for lack of a better word, because it made it look bad. But then you think, oh no, the ends do justify the means, because that Jey Uso spot was incredible.
Yeah, just where he flies in from nowhere. Yeah, I assumed that one cut was just for like Cody to be like, "You ready?" Because if the drum was right, you would have seen them calling the 3, 2, 1 before they go, wouldn't you? So maybe they had to do that, otherwise, I think you got a camera saying,
Yeah.
I'm going to suplex you now, right there. But
John Cena's in the match, they obviously couldn't care less.
That's true, yeah.
You know what I mean? They wouldn't have cared about that.
Rose out of the Kia Forum.
I'm not even being facetious.
That's what he says.
Cena hits an AA on Jey Uso, then one on Cody Rhodes, but Cody Rhodes kicks out. So Cena takes Rhodes to the outside, clears both announce tables, and he's going to AA Rhodes off one, through the other. But Rhodes wriggles free, drops off, and Jey Uso spears him. The table doesn't break.
Look rubbish.
And you're sort of like, okay, well, they've got these new reinforced tables. And I watched this again, and then I was showing Anne-Louise the main event yesterday for the R-Truth thing that we're going to get to, obviously. And she went, oh, table didn't break. And I was like, yeah, shame about that, isn't it? Because then obviously immediately
You fools.
Logan Paul, hey Anne-Louise, let it play out. Logan Paul hits an amazing Asai moonsault from the ring onto Jey Uso. The table explodes, obviously. It's Cena and Cody in the ring, and the referee's obviously checking if Jey Uso's been killed by this moonsault. And so Cena's looking around, grabs the championship belt. We all know how this plays out, and he nails Cody Rhodes with it. But before he can turn around and capitalize on that, a masked man slides in and spears John Cena, and then takes off his hoodie to reveal R-Truth is back. Or I should probably nowadays say Ron Killings, because that's what he's going for going forward now. There was like "We Want Truth" chants throughout the night, I should mention. The chat on Worlds Collide was just filled with protestations for R-Truth.
In hindsight, nice, like smart of John Cena to turn the volume up on that with that little riposte on SmackDown.
Yes.
Like you can't, there were only really smatterings on Raw. When I remember we said, I think this has been a bit overstated. Really,
No, I thought, I mean, it still was for me, but very much.
They did it a bit in the John Cena beatdown on SmackDown, and then him saying that, turn the volume way up. And at that point, if he knows that Truth's coming back tomorrow, I can get people to bite on this now properly. I was like, I'm going to bury him again. I'm burying him all the time. Guy sucks ass.
It's awful.
That was a little flash.
I think
it's the instincts of a John Cena that I used to quite like on that in that SmackDown.
I agree with the whole John Cena heel run. I will say I think this is some of the best. Not saying it's good. I'm saying it's some of the best stuff he's done. It's better than the worst stuff he's done with Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, for example. The whole tag stuff with Logan Paul, the promo on Friday, the beatdown, and this match to a certain extent. But yeah, they're all in service of the return of R-Truth, who not only has taken down John Cena, clocks him with the belt, And then as the referee realizes both men are down, slides back in, they get to their feet, and John Cena stumbles into a crossroads by Cody Rhodes for the 1, 2, 3.
Right. I want to make a big point about Logan Paul, but I'll talk about everybody else in the match first because it was just bad in all the ways I expected it to be bad. This was a bad match. Cody Rhodes and John Cena have awful, awful chemistry. I'm gonna put most of that on John Cena, right?
He's finished.
Because he is a disaster.
Finished.
Totally finished, right? Ponpina. However, Cody, in his position, has, I don't want to say done more with less, but done lots with little. And I think that's the task with John Cena, and he's failing at that task. So I'll put a little bit of that on Cody. He's needing to do a lot with a little, and he's not doing it. And if nothing else, their collected star power should help elevate that as well. And so there's a little bit of Cody, mostly John Cena, and they've just got that anti-chemistry that is, it's a nightmare for WWE right now because we're going to go back to that, aren't we? We're going to be going back to Cody and Cena probably imminently.
SummerSlam, yeah.
Jey Uso had his umpteenth rough night. That's what you get with Jey Uso.
He sucks.
I don't care, but that's what you get with him. And when you're needing somebody out there, when Cody's the guy that's kind of got to try and lift this and elevate it, and he doesn't, ideally then you want somebody else that can step in and spot that, and Jey Uso's never, ever going to be that guy, so that's not ideal as well. So just bad match, predictably as bad as you would think when you look at the graphic. The continuing disaster of the John Cena run goes on. Logan Paul, he's my least favourite wrestler, and I continue to be frustrated with Logan Paul. I thought it was going to be the only saving grace this match. I thought, fair play. Not only is he picked up something and he's listening to all this criticism because he's lashing out and responding to it, right? But he's misunderstanding the criticism, Logan Paul. He's lashing out and he's like, yeah, they hate me because I've come into their precious WWE and I'm doing it better than all the rest. It's like, that's not what people are criticising, mate. What they're criticising is that they're already bored of your trampoline park moves. Your seeming inability to put it together in a way that means anything, in a way that actually glues itself to you emotionally, has now become the single biggest problem of the Logan Paul package, right? I love the drone stuff in this match, from entrance to how it was used in the context of the match. There are so many cool things that you can experiment with when it comes to the Logan Paul character like that. And clearly, that tank isn't out of gas. Creatively, they are obviously, whether it's who's in the prime bottle, how they're going to use the drone, that's where ideas are happening. The matches are where the ideas dissolve. And I thought this was going to be an exception. And I was so excited to come in the studio and put it over. And then they blew it. They massively blew it, right? Look back at this match. I've watched this twice. The kids wanted to watch this on the Sunday. Pretty much the whole match is the story of Logan Paul being a kind of obnoxious student to John Cena's frustrated teacher. Very early on, the cracks appear, right? Where you think, this was destined to fail. The egos are too big, whatever. They're baddies as well. And from early on, it's the tagging in, the tagging out, and the frustration, whatever. Then the frustration boils over and they lose control of the match. So at this point, the desperation sets in, right? Because Logan Paul's hubris is his undoing. He goes for his buckshot lariat. The botch is definitely intentional. Look at how he lands, right? That's he stopped stealing from Hangman Page. He's starting stealing from Kenny Omega. But Kenny Omega's better at hiding an intentional botch, right? The hubris, again. It's I'll fix it. You need to stop doing your flippy moves, mate. And I'm thinking, they're telling a story here. You need to stop being this guy because it's not working for you anymore. Then they double down on it because he goes for the big springboard splash and he hits John Cena. It's you're effing it up, mate. You're all of this stuff is no longer working for you. You need to get your head in the game. Rule of three. What's going to be the third one? The drone. He's got him beat with the pulverizer. But hubris, he's not got the head for pro wrestling. He wants to be spectacular. He wants to be Mr. Flashy. And he screws it up in the most spectacular and coolest way possible. It's they've done it. They have figured out the Logan Paul problem and they're going to work towards almost rebuilding the character from the ground up and making him incorporate his cool stuff into, no, he just does the most gorgeous Asai moonsault you've ever seen as the grand thing, as the world famous rule of 4, of course. The biggest waste of one of the most beautiful executions of one of the most beautiful moves you can ever see. I know it was in service of Jey Uso helps his mates and gets hurt for it. Going to factor into Raw, like everything else with Jey Uso. It's going to factor into this Raw match with Gunther. But to piss away this story, tells me, no.
They were not even telling.
What I thought was actually just fluky, and the reality is that Logan Paul likes to do cool flips.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed. So disappointed because
if you're John Cena, you could argue you all had to make it all about you in doing the Asai moonsault to take out Jey Uso, and that gave R-Truth the window to get involved.
True.
But we'll see what happens.
Maybe let that play out, then that's fair enough. That because it was, to me, it was like the one saving grace was what I felt like a nice bit of storytelling they'd put within the body of this bad match. And then like he hits that and it's like, nah, you are just more interested in, you're way more Shane McMahon.
Class, yeah.
You're way more Shane McMahon than you ever will be pro wrestler.
Oh, of course.
And that was that's why I didn't like the spot that I should have loved, because it is what I could watch that replay a gazillion times. The arch, that's Kurt Angle from a steel cage. The
fact that table looks pretty robust just helped it enormously as well. I mean, I liked it, but I never thought that Logan Paul was trying to tell a sophisticated story to begin with.
I just really felt disappointed in him. Like, I'm not angry, Logan. I'm just disappointed.
Just disappointed. What are your thoughts on Truth before I bury the slop?
Triple H is an idiot, isn't he?
Oh, David Brent at high blood pressure. Enjoy the show.
Let it play out. That's what always said.
Hang on, right.
You don't think that's the case? You don't think it's a work?
Right. I know you're doing a bit.
Yeah. No, sorry, I will just say I liked it because it was mega over. Like,
of course, it's not work. WWE's the listening company. They listen to the fans and they've adapted.
They could have been.
Another great pivot added to the list.
Triple H blew that one, didn't he? Now this was good. I like the archery thing. Like, it was massively over.
I love
like it was a nice twist. It was fine. I'm not advocating for like a 6-month run on top. Like, I'm glad Ron Killings is. I'm glad Ron Killings is advocating for himself. Go for it, mate. Get whatever you can out of it. But as a moment and as a surprise, I enjoyed it.
I will say that I will actually pay attention to what he says when he next says it or when he's advertised to say it, because I'm thinking, how do you deflect this onto Cena and not the company? We'll see how they get around it, because otherwise it's kind of nonsensical, realistically. This R-Truth thing. I mean, I want to talk about Levesque first. Like, what a dicker.
All-timer own goal from him.
What an idiot. Like, how thick do you think we are? How stupid do you think we are? My goodness.
So he's as obsessed with winning that conversation with that journalist as he was beating Booker T.
I know.
That's how he views life.
I know.
I've got to win this.
Absolutely
He's missed
ridiculous.
Like 50 massive wins optically because he wants that one right there.
So
he is the game till he dies, that man.
This, I'm going to call it this bloodline-coded post-2020 thing of, and it's still, it's got origins in WWE's attitude since day one, right? Of make them calm, do it slow, you're doing too much, stop screwing around.
Dead man was at Worlds Collide.
Yeah, you're getting too much, stop getting your in and tell a goddamn story. In my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I think a lot of it is these marks are idiots. You gotta make it broad, you gotta make it slow so they can catch up with your brilliance. We have reached an nadir of the WWE big match. I think I can't handle it anymore. I've always been like, oh, come on, you don't have to piss around. Really, this stuff with the heat segment that goes on before the finisher spam and the fireworks, it's so disjointed. This thing that they're doing at the start is so superfluous and just pointless, and time for the sake of putting time on it, for the sake of, oh, well, if we just do the same thing the promotions we bury for doing, finisher spam, kick outs, not much selling in the final third. If we do 2/3 of just real slow build, then we can get away with it. It just feels like so obligatory, superfluous, pointless. I cannot stand it. One thing barely informs the next. It's this, the shift in between acts 1 and 2 into 3. It's never been more abrupt or pointless or disconnected. I really can't stand. I'm just watching it go and just get to the point. Like, oh, God, I can't deal with it anymore.
Use your special.
Get on with it. And then, because I will say, like, I forgot to mention this, with all the stuff, like the standstill rubbish during that men's Money in the Bank ladder match, I did think, oh, God, I took leave of my senses temporarily thinking, oh, my God, it's LA Knight and it's not Seth. Oh, no, I've just been distracted. Well done. That's quite good cornying. There was a point when finisher, right? Cena has just watched Cody do a finisher and kicked out, and now I'll do my finisher. The bang, bang, bang. There was a point where I'm like, he's kicking out. And I never want to get that feeling. And I never actively look for it either. I do try and get into they're telling the story, whatever, because I'm fairly certain 99 times out of 100, if I didn't enter that mind state or that flow state, I would just guess every single one. So I try not to do it, but I was like, all right, okay, he's kicked out of that. I know the rhythm of it is just so predictable at this point. As for R-Truth, I understand that it's all in service of the conditioning of, they're all wearing the black hoodies. Like Bron Breakker did it before he wore the suit. And it's all Jimmy Uso, it's the thing. It's what these, like, is that good or not? Is that continuity? Like, why do they all wear black hoodies? Is it just the thing?
It's just every reveal now, isn't it?
Every reveal. I can't tell if they're being cute with it or if it's a complete lack of imagination or if they think it's a cool thing they come up with for new every single time or they think they're really clever. Oh, the black hoodie is the symbol of, well, we'll work the marks here. No. Black hoodie is code for, these idiots don't know what's going on, contempt. So I don't like that. What are we doing with R-Truth? Ron Killings. I am interested in how they address it on Raw or SmackDown because the guy got fired for a week. I haven't forgot allergic reaction number 3 in case you were worried about that. Like, how are they going to spin this other than, we completely, utterly misjudged how much you liked him and we shouldn't have fired him. Sorry. I'm wondering how they spin it. I don't believe they can. And I'm not being funny again. I don't like to do you're an idiot. I'm clever because I'm not really that clever. But my God, if you think it's a work, you need to go to night school. You do. You need
LA night school.
You just need to go to night school. You don't have to do bits about it. I'm telling these people to go to school and to get cleverer and to be less ignorant and less willfully ignorant as well. What is it about? I mean, there's so many different examples. 1, R-Truth said it. Number 2, his son said it. Number 3, everyone in the locker room said it. Number 4, and this is the big one for me. Second of all, he got squashed by JC Matteo. There was no link. What is it about the last 6 weeks of WWE TV or realistically Paul Levesque's creative model? Do you think that this is a work shoe? Like, please go to night school. I'm begging you. Allergic reaction number 3. Yeah. Truth's here. Truth is here. We want truth. We want truth. We want truth. I don't know why Michael Cole's look correct, but he kind of is. I hate him. I hate Michael Cole. He just has these fits. He has these like why does he say it like that? No, like no normal person would sell it like that. No normal commentator. What the is with this guy, Michael Cole? He has these conniption fits where he's like he's pretending to be so blown away that he can't get the words out. Why is he acting like?
He's acting like Jim Ross. He's acting like he was.
Yeah, but
always...
he can't do it. He can't do it. Rather than sound like Jim Ross, he sounds like if I'm 11 years old. No, if I'm 14 years old. No, I wouldn't do that. That's fine. If I'm 7 years old. Warriors beat Hogan. Warriors beat Hogan. Warriors just beat Hogan. Hogan never loses. Oh, yeah, Warriors won. Maybe when I'm 7, I react like that. No, Michael Cole's like 50, 60 years old. What is he?
I think he's getting up there.
He's older than me, and I'm 39. I hate him. I hate him, and I'm allergic to this. I can't do it anymore.
I didn't really notice Michael Cole's call, but that's often part of the problem in and of itself.
Okay, yes, check.
John Cena he's a nightmare.
He's awful, isn't he?
He is a living nightmare for me at this point.
It's really funny.
Like, there was he's doing that thing again. He's doing that video game glitch. Just sprints back to his feet to get into a position for something. Like, he could be like, if I've never turned a bump in my life, never will. If a wrestler's like selling by the apron and then has the sudden realization that they should have been in the middle of the ring to take a move, you would like to think that professional wrestler would try and communicate that with their mouth and eyes to their opponent, who is probably stood in the middle of the ring going, why are you not closer to me? Mm-hmm. And then the two of them will organically move closer together and create a scenario in which it looks not John Cena. No. He will sprint into your arms like he's just got out, but he's sprinting into your arms like it's me seeing the WrestleMania video. Like, oh, I'm ready, Cody, like that. The dumb just fell to his knees on that Cody cutter. He couldn't look more pathetic. He's like, well, I'm going down, so you might as well go to me while you're on the way. Like, he is a nightmare to watch.
He's horrendous, isn't he?
It is so bad. And like, I've been watching a bit of old John Cena stuff recently.
Why?
A little bit, just to sort of remind myself of what I liked about him, because you're good at getting your clows in, and I need to sort of like, No, I mean, Sidgwick would respectfully disagree on John Cena once upon a time, and I need to see that it's still there. And the thing is, I'm watching the wrong stuff because it's like, well, what do I go to? I'm going to go to my comfort zone. I'm going to watch like a Punk match. It's like I need to sort of stretch myself out of the comfort zone and watch some John Cena.
The JBL match of the blood was sick.
Yeah.
Craig Carly, I love that.
Yeah.
Amarga.
Yeah. Like,
He's talking about 10 things I like.
He's
10 things, maybe less.
10 things I like about you. Like,
Oh,
this run is
12 o'clock.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
This run is sad. It's a bleak prospect watching John Cena wrestle every week. Bleak.
Yeah, he's bad.
Good end to the show, though, with our truth.
Yeah, like that.
Well, let us know your thoughts on the whole Money in the Bank show in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there. You can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick. See, I don't even know where the camera is. I just don't. I'm cleverer than the Fed. That's it. Not much else. Not much else.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. And make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcast, Raw preview, coming your way later on today. And a Q&A with myself and Michael Sidgwick, answering all of your burning wrestling questions. But for now, it's been the Money in the Bank review. My thanks to Hamflett, Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you soon.